Sacco and Felice, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFelice.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
That's little Annalise. She's 6 years old and worried about the war overseas. Very worried. I am somehow less worried. I think this thing is coming in for a nice, sweet landing. Let's bring in General Blaine Holt, U.S. Air Force retired, great strategist, great businessman. General, welcome back. Is this thing coming down? Is this thing ending or what?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Greg. I think it's on final approach. I'm just amazed at all of the folks that have found all these other little weird angles about how it's all just blowing up in President Trump's face and it's the end of the moon and the world and everything else. And I've not seen such Debbie Downers. Look, we're on the right track. Every hour that goes by, this regime is about to crumble. And now they go to their former mama bear called China, who said, get lost. You guys need to sign a deal. That's what they're going to tell them anyway when they arrive. And they're going to tell them that, we got President Trump coming in here. We don't need to be embarrassed, and we don't need to see Iran as a leverage card. This is going to work out. I think it's going to work out just fine.
Well, that's a big relief. I don't understand all of the ins and outs. Now, I understand negotiations. What do they want? What is the big thing that they want from us that we may have to give them? Do you know what it is?
Yep, they're going to, and this is where the impasse is going to be with this regime and why they're going to come off the table, is they're never going to give up some sort of nuclear ambition ever. And it's for 2 reasons. One reason is they want to maintain control in their dictatorship and theocracy of the Iranian people, and they feel like giving that up will severely weaken them, and they're correct. Number 2, they believe that if Israel sees that they're never, ever going to have a nuclear weapon, that they'll be open for the pickings, the regime, not the people. And it's not an altogether inaccurate analysis, so they're never going to waver on that, and it's the end of days for them. I just believe we'll probably get to a place where the table blows up, and then enough time will go by, and the resistance, which is now building up and getting ready to go, will finish them off while we finish off the IRGC militarily. I think it's weeks away from being done.
What about we say, okay, no nukes for 12 and a half years? Is that a number? Is that a decent number? Could we live with that? Could they live with that?
Nobody can live with that, because if you look at the history of the United States, the president who was president 12 years ago decided to take jets full of cash, $1.8 billion, and went there Neville Chamberlain style and said, pretty please with sugar on it. And all they did was create more terrorist organizations around the world, terrorists that we have to deal with to this day. So the only guy who's had the bravery and the courage to confront this and their banking overlords at the City of London, financialists, is President Trump. And he is unapologetically dismantling it. Now, he's doing it in a very elegant way, because by being very back and forth with, hey, deals on, deals off, deals on, deals off, what's happening is it's destroying the algorithms in the oil markets, the automated trading, and the futures markets are largely stabilized. So the volatility's down while we deal with a very volatile creature that needs to come off the table for our grandchildren's sake.
Wow, this is very interesting. All right, now let me ask you the following. The one thing that I'm really worried about and have been worried about as we go more into the Strait of Hormuz with our ships, if a U.S. naval vessel is sunk, it's cataclysmic. Even though we took out their Navy, we took out their Air Force, we took all those things. If we lose a battleship, and it could happen, I guess, number one? And number 2, if that happens, what do we do and what does it mean?
Yeah, it's possible that could happen. You can't discount the lucky shot, the interceptor that failed, the miscalculation in a navigational course, and IRGC that knows there's no tomorrow, so why not just throw everything you've got left? So that could happen. If that were to happen, it doesn't mean that a lot of people have said, well, then we're going to see 130,000 U.S. forces invade Iran. No, we won't do that. But lightly, what we will do is light up the IRGC and the rest of their strongholds and their bunkers and any embassies harboring them. We will really go scorched earth on the IRGC, and then we will aid and abet a revolution so that the Iranians can close the deal. That would be the pathway at that point.
Real quick, why didn't we do that already with the IRGC? I mean, if we know their little nodes where they are, they were part of the problem all along. I mean, we could have gone harder. Why did we go lighter on them?
I think the reason that we did that is because the president would like to see them turn on each other, which they have done. That has been effective. We know that in the IRGC ranks, which is out of money and can't pay their people, they are openly infighting, and they're infighting with the civilian leadership. That type of disunity, you can't teach that in a war college, and President Trump has brought it about. So what does that mean? It means they're a thin target for us to get after. If we had just got brute force right out of the way, well, they were in possession of a lot of missiles. Now they're in possession of a lot of varied ideas about how to handle this and how to exile themselves and how to fall into the arms of the free Iranian people, although that won't happen either. So I think patience has been a virtue for the president, something that I have not seen in the last 5 presidents.
So do me a favor. This is one of the last 5 presidents, Barack Obama. Carlos, do me a favor. That clip that we haven't yet, okay, with the Colbert. He's out there. He's very creepy. I think Obama's up to no good. Go ahead.
You're right. The Presidential Center is nonpartisan. And the reason I want to mention that is because I'm worried about the Republican Party, not just the Democratic Party. When I was president, people would ask me, well, what change would you like to see in Washington? I'd say, I'd love a loyal opposition. I'd love a Republican Party that was conservative in some ways, that didn't agree with me on a whole bunch of stuff, but believed in rule of law and judicial independence and empirical evidence and science, and wasn't constantly tapping into our worst impulses. And there has been a Republican Party like that in the past, and I want to see that return, because I think you have to.
He's such a snub. He's so, and this is how he sees America, by the way. The ugly impulses and clinging to guns and God and all of that stuff. There's something about him that deeply troubles me. He's making more noise out there. He's openly complaining about the president and that he's an authoritarian and waging this illegal war against his enemies, and I just find it a dangerous thing. I don't know. I get the creeps from this guy.
Don't you find it amazing how the lies and the hypocrisy just roll off his tongue as if they were irrefutable truths, when in fact it's just a list of projections? I mean, this is a guy who absolutely would not take a Donald Trump transition and instigated the coup in the fall. And we'll find that out legally. The coup in the fall of President Trump trying to get him impeached through a sham Russiagate. This is a guy who gave $2 billion to the imams. This is a guy who serviced over 474 targets of his own choosing, some Americans on the ground in Pakistan. He's a traitor to this nation, and I don't mind saying that quite openly, because he's quite open about his treason. And what he's trying to do right now is communicate by some happenstance, some yarn, as President Trump takes this thing to its logical conclusion, because we'll all be able to look back at that point and go, well, why didn't this happen on Bush's watch or Obama's watch or Clinton's watch? And President Trump will come out of this shining, being right, and having a legacy that our grandkids can survive by. Whereas this guy, he's not. He is worth the time on Colbert, because I think there's only about 5 audience members left there.
That's right. What was the first airplane you learned to fly? What's the first airplane you soloed in?
That was the mighty Cessna 150, a 1969 model that beautiful instructor Sonny back at Sonny's Flight Service in Athens, Georgia, taught me to fly, and he soloed me out forcibly and threw me out of the nest at 5.5 hours.
What?
Yep. I couldn't afford any more flight time, and I had to get the solo ticket for Air Force pilot training. So he just said, dude, I don't have enough airplanes for you to watch. Just go take it around the pattern 3 times, and we'll call it a day.
Oh boy, that was wow. Well, you lived to tell the story. That's amazing. I've seen those little Cessna 150, 152s. They are very, very tiny, but it's got everything you need to learn how to fly. Well, Blaine Holt, you learned how to fly. You learned how to soar. We so appreciate it. Blaine Holt at _irascible. You can go find him there on social media. And real quick, tell me about that very interesting business venture you're involved with.
Yep, Xeriant, XERIANT.com. We are about to certify our first product. It's a replacement for sheetrock, only it's fireproof and waterproof. And we're going to bring this into the market. It's going to be a very big deal. Recycled materials and safe for your house. And we're so excited, and thank you for letting me mention that.
I love it. I'd like to make some cash here if I can. I'm going to figure out a way. Are you guys traded on the stock exchange?
Yeah, we are. We're a penny stock right now, XERI. On the OTC, and we're just a penny a share, I think, right now. But that's about all I'm allowed to legally say. And we love the support of our folks around us because we've been bootstrapping this for 5.5 years, and our debut is at hand. I
love it. Good luck. Thank you very much, and see you later, General Holt. Good luck. Get back to work. We want to make that stock grow.
I'm back at it.
All right. I love it.
77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.